when to add more longs on XRP, how to analyze any chart from scratch in a meaningful course. Let's get started. And as usual, cheers. I'm your host, Richard, and welcome back to our channel. For those who have been following me for a while, know that the last couple of videos were about picking an idea from my TradingView profile and going over it in a detailed manner to know when and why and how we came up with analysis to look for longs or shorts. We did 3 videos already about this series. The first one was a forex pair, which is USD CAD. You can check it out in my channel. The second one was BABA, which is a stock, Alibaba. And the third one, which was last week, it's about NASDAQ, which is an index. So what's left? A crypto. So obviously you can see it. We'll go over XRP, also known as Ripple or whatever you want to call it. It's a crypto instrument. So you can see that I posted this one like 2 days ago. And if you click on play, you can see that it's still around this area. So how I came up with this analysis and why we're looking for buy setups, let's do it. And as usual, I'll click on remove drawings and do it together from scratch. It would be a good practical example. And make sure to watch this video till the end, as I have an announcement to make, especially for those who would like to ask me questions live. So let's get started. For those who know me know that I always start from the daily and weekly timeframes to know where we stand in the market. Are we inside a range? Are we overall bullish or are we overall bearish? And we call these key rejection areas, where we'll be looking for sell and buy setups around it on lower time frames on H4, H1, and M30. So around our resistance, we'll be looking obviously for sell setups. It can be horizontal or non-horizontal. And around the support, in parallel, we'll be looking for buy setups, and also it can be horizontal or non-horizontal. So let's get started. And as usual, we always start by drawing our support and resistance. Sometimes we don't have typical ones, so we go for round numbers and supply and demand zones. So how to do it? We draw a random line on our chart and drag and drop it in a way to connect as many swings as possible, at least like 3 clean swings. For those who don't know how to draw supply and resistance correctly, you can find that video about it in my channel. But for now, I'll keep it short and at the same time interesting, right? So let's scroll down and we can see that we can only connect one swing, so we can't really draw it. However, around this area, we can clearly see that we've got many rejections from it, and it's an entire zone and not a laser level. So we should treat it like this, for example. And we can clearly see that we've got many rejections from it already. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now it's acting as what was acting as support previously, then was broken downward, resistance again and again and again, then price broke it upward. So it's now acting as what? Obviously as support. So that's why we're looking for buy setups now. And I personally like to draw it as a level, not to make the chart cleaner. And it happens to be also what? A very strong round number, which is 0.5. And let's make an offset for it because it's an entire zone. Let's do it, for example, around 0.6, right? So here's how I came up with the zone 0.5, 0.6. And of course, it's a potential support. So don't just like buy blindly because price is around support, as price can always break it downward for it to become resistance and then trade lower, okay? So don't ever buy blindly. But what we know from weekly time frame is that we are around support and we are clearly overall bullish. Price is making higher highs and higher lows, even though the last correction movement was very aggressive, but that doesn't really matter because we are already around a support area, which is also what? A very strong demand area. How we know that? Because we had this aggressive movement upward from it. If you don't know how to identify a correct or strong supply and demand, you can also find a video about it in my channel. But let's keep it short for this one. So we have a demand, we have the 0.5 round number inside from 0 to 3. 0.5 is a good one. And it's also what? Support, demand, and round number. That's why we are looking for buy setups in the first place. And of course, if broken downward, then a movement till our next support will be expected. As you can see, many rejections from it, which would be around, let's keep it as a level for now because it's still far away from the price. Let's do it 0.1. So this is the lower bound, the support areas. So looking for buy, if broken downward, we'll be looking for buy around the 0.1. So next, where are our potential resistance areas? We don't really have any, like many rejections from it like here. So that's why we can't really draw any resistance level in this case. However, we can see that we've got a supply zone, right? As we had an aggressive movement down from it. So it's an interesting area where we'll be looking for sell setups, and also have what? The round number 2, right? So now if price trades higher from here, the first rejection might be around this supply, and or if broken down upward, of course, the round number 2, which is a very, very strong one. And as you can see, the price respected the round number 2 perfectly. And we can also draw this round number 3, right? And as you can see, price respected it perfectly. So this is where we go for round numbers. For example, we didn't like see it before, right? We drew it, and as price approaches it, we expected a rejection from it. And yes, we also have the round number 1, but I will keep it for like on daily time frame. You know what? Let's zoom to daily time frame now. But first, let's make these ones in blue because they are acting for now as what? As a resistance, and the green ones are acting as support. If you go to daily time frame, where's our 1? It would be around here. All right, and let's draw it. And of course, it's an entire zone and not a laser level. You already know it. So here's our round number 1. Let me make it 1. And of course, you have to treat it as a zone. So make an offset for it like this. And you can see that we've got many rejections from it. It was acting as support previously, broken downward. Now it's acting as a resistance. Okay, but let's keep it as a level for now. And you know what, you can also, just like we did here, you can make an offset as another level, so 1.1. So you know how we came up with this, and now you know how we came up with this, 1 and 1.1, and here's our 2, right? Here's our 2, and I made it here in green, so green, blue, green. I like to make it as clean as possible, okay? So I believe that drawing is an art, and not everyone have this talent, if you want to call it. Okay, so there are two different things: how to draw and how to trade, right? But it happens that I like to like make it as clean as possible, because that's how I like to see it. Like when I open my chart, I immediately know what I'm looking for without going to do the analysis all over again. So here, for example, I will also like draw this, and here I would like to draw this, for example, so that I exactly know what to look for at the first glance when I just open your chart. And of course, always remember to save your charts, right? You don't want like to work for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes and then everything will like disappear, right? Okay, so let's remove these arrows for now because we don't need it to make the chart cleaner. And this is what we know from weekly and daily. And look how things are becoming clearer just from daily and weekly. And that's exactly the beauty of starting from the higher time frames to know where we are in the market, right? We currently know that we are overall bearish, low lows and lower highs. However, we are currently overall bullish from a weekly time frame, and it makes sense because we are bullish, right? So higher highs and higher lows, and we are currently in a correction phase. That's why you see from a medium-term perspective a bearish trend on daily time frame. It makes total sense. So now, since we are overall bullish from a higher time frame and bearish here, we are looking forward to in a correction phase. When we are overall bullish, we'll be waiting for price or for the correction to be about to end to catch what? The next impulse movement, which would result in an even higher high, higher than the previous one, because we are overall obviously bullish, right? So let's do just this, and we can clearly see that we can draw like a channel that engulfs the overall movement downward, and we can see it even better from H4 time frame, which you already saw it here. So we can draw it like this, which would be like showing us the overall direction. And I like to make my rejection trend lines, which are acting as a non-horizontal support and resistance, in brown, as you clearly see from all my analysis. Okay, so that's how I know from the first glance also that this is not a trigger trend line, it's a rejection, a non-horizontal support and resistance. So let's do it like this. Here's our offset, which is engulfing the overall movement, and you can clearly see it now from daily. We'll zoom out in a bit, And here's the offset, and you can see that the price is respecting it also. If we go to daily time frame, here we go. So we are overall bullish impulse. Now we are in correction phase, trying to catch or looking to catch the next impulse to the upside. Okay, so let's go to H4 time frame again, and that's where we know that if price is, let's make like the median. Okay, so this is the middle of this overall bearish movement. So if price is below it, here's where you have an edge, that because you are looking for longs here, right? Because price is around a support area, but I'm not looking for longs around this area because we have a resistance, horizontal resistance, 1.1, and this one horizontal resistance, which is the upper trend line. So I'm not interested in looking for buy stops around the upper bound. I'm looking for buy stops around the lower bound, because here where I would have an edge, right? Because I'm looking obviously for longs. So that's exactly why we like to draw like the overall movement to know where we are in the market, to know if we have an edge or not. If you don't have an edge, then it's better for us to stay out. All right. So don't force trades. Wait for the best opportunity, and then just like a sniper, right? So wait for it and then shoot. Don't be like a machine gunner, right? So wait for it and then shoot. It's about quality and not quantity. So anyway, let's move forward. So right around the support area, we are looking for buy setups, because as mentioned, price can still break it downward. So always be open-minded that price can still go the opposite way. Don't just like get too attached to one single trade. Price can still break it downward, and then for it to become what? Resistance, and then a movement that our low support would be expected, where we're looking for new buy setups. For example, around here, we're looking for buy setups, but we didn't have any buy setup activated. Price kept moving low. So if you like bought blindly here, then you would be now stuck inside this bearish trend. Don't buy a bearish trend. Always wait for the buyers to take over, to have a shift in momentum before you buy. Okay, so now around support, while looking for buy setups, if you zoom in, we can clearly see that the latest price action is clearly also bearish, just like the daily time frame, while overall bearish price is making lower highs and lower lows, right? You don't need like to compare the highs to know it, right? While obviously in a bearish trend, and you don't want to buy a bearish trend, just like I just mentioned. So that's why you also try to draw like the upper bound and the lower bound. And in this case, since it's from H4 time frame and not from daily, just like the brown one, this one is acting, I don't want to see it on daily. So it's just a trigger, what I call a trigger trend line. Or for those who already know my trading style. So this is where or why I'm looking for buy setups, because I'm around support, but I'm not buying just yet. I'm waiting for the buyers to take over by breaking above this previous high. And it's a market structure 101. For those who don't know about market structure also, you can find plenty of videos online, and you can find many videos about it in my videos, in my channel. And of course, I always include tips about it in every single video, especially in the playlist, the first one, which you can see at the top of the channel, how to analyze any chart from scratch. We have like 7 examples on different instruments, different markets that you can watch, and of course, enjoy it. And of course, cheers. So that's what we know so far. We are overall bearish, and we are looking for what? For buy setups. We want the buyers to take over by breaking above this last swing high, and that's it. Right? That's why I'm looking for buy. I'm looking, and I know that, just like I always mention. Meanwhile, until the buy is activated, XRP would be overall bearish and can still trade lower. Right? You don't want to buy a bearish market. Okay, so we know that we are bearish, right? And price can still trade lower and lower, but while waiting for the buyers to take over by breaking above this one. And by breaking, I mean with a momentum candle close or a big candle close with volume and strength, showing that the bulls are taking over in an aggressive manner and not just like shy candle or like with a big wick from the upper side. We wanted a full candle closing above this area, showing that the bulls are now in full control, okay, or at least taking over. So, and as usual, this would be my trigger. So I also highlighted that so that I just immediately know what I'm looking for next time I open my XRP chart, because I do have like a lot of instruments in my watch list. I have stocks, I have forex, I have crypto, and of course every instrument or every market has a different approach. But let's not get into this for now. This is what I'm waiting for, and this is how I came up with this analysis. That's it for XRP. And of course, as mentioned previously, the announcement would be that when we reach 5K subscribers, I will be hosting the first time I will be going live streaming on YouTube. And of course, I will let you know in my next upcoming videos as we approach the 5K subscribers, and maybe we'll do it like every time we cross 1K, so 5K, 6K, 7K. So every time we cross like 1K, I'll go for a live seminar. And of course, as mentioned, I'll let you know in the next video when it would be, and so on. So make sure that you watch my videos, and of course, wishing you a lovely weekend and best of luck.